Yo creo que el LoL sin entrenadores en el competitivo pues sería más como jugar solo Q pero en equipo y poco más, porque jugaríamos la gente lo que nos apeteciera sin seguir un orden ni nada por el estilo. El orden lo seguirían, pero los picks serían más raros seguro. Normalmente un entrenador siempre se basa en su setup, en su esto, que tiene que tener lo otro, entonces yo creo que sería más loco el juego, ¿sabes? Sin entrenadores.
Welcome back, everyone. We just heard from XPeppy, and as we speak, Giants and Vitality are setting up to go head-to-head. Let's dive straight into that matchup. Vitality, they're doing absolutely fantastic in the last 2 weeks. They beat G2. Unfortunately, your team, OG, H2K, and UOL. When we look at their gold leads in the last 2 weeks, they have tripled what they accrued as a gold lead over their opponents at 20 minutes in comparison to their first weeks. They are really reaching their peak. Have you noticed it in scrims, and what do you think it is that has enabled them in these last 2 weeks?
We have definitely noticed in scrims in a very bad way for us.
Okay.
We used to be doing very well against them, but recently they are looking so strong, and I really have to commend them because they have improved the most out of any EU LCS team.
And not only their performances favors them, but for any Vitality fans, you'll look at the schedule they've got ahead of them. Yeah. They've actually got one of the easiest schedules there is to have. Their opponents' records are 30 and 44, so Vitality have peaked at the right time to make a very solid run for that top of the table. They're already there. They look likely to hold it.
Yeah, if you had to put your finger on some of the things that have been going much better for them, what would you think it is?
I think Nukeduck has stepped a lot in individual play and has found a few champions that people don't constantly ban out against him. We made that mistake with giving him the gangplank, and that cost us dearly.
Yeah.
So when we play them in 2 weeks, I don't think we're going to make the same mistake.
Well, I hope not. Of course, you've learned your lesson in that one. They are coached by Sean's. What's your impression of him as a coach and what he's done with the squad?
It's hard for me to tell what he does behind the scene, but he's a pretty nice guy. And I heard he's pretty strict, and I think a lot of players, especially maybe the older veterans in Vitality, could use that.
How do you go against it? Because it's nice that you bring it up, because some coaches we've heard from, they've banned sugar. They, have a straight gym schedule for their players. Is there anything that you guys do in J2 that falls under that category?
We do go to the gym. It's not forced, but encouraged.
Yeah.
I don't buy them sweets, but they are allowed to buy themselves, but I encourage them not to. And with other things, I like to give them a lot of freedom, but if they abuse it, then I will step in.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good way to go as well. Let's look at the team that Vitality here is up against, Giants. They did have a 1-1. Last week, XPeppy stepped up, had a good week, and we see that seems to be the most important thing for the team still.
It was a much better week for Peppy as a player, and we even saw Adri in a couple of performances step up. But I think one of the really confusing things with Giants is we spoke to Godfred, and he actually said, I believe it was the quick shot, we don't know where our issues lie yet. We don't know what kind of style we're playing. And I was thinking, oh, is this one player speaking for himself? And then I saw an interview with Peppy, and Peppy was like, yeah, we don't know either. I don't know. The team doesn't really have a play style yet. We know we're running out of time, and we don't have the time to improve. And I'm just here thinking, like, this is what coaching staff, support staff, everything that's built up should be about, is finding your correct play style to play the game. And for the Giants, something isn't right with the way that their game plan is. They don't seem to have a clear game plan.
Yeah. Youngbuck, what's your vision on that, especially that quote, we don't know our issues yet in week 6?
Yeah, that's pretty troublesome and also very surprising. But I think a lot of people are going to blame just the coach. But I also think there's a lot of self-reflection in the players. And maybe there's just not an atmosphere where they can discuss each other's problems. Because if you practice every day, you look at other regions, you have to pick up something from those teams and see where other teams punish you in practice. And if you don't see where you're learning from, I think you're just missing some self-reflection in the players as well.
All right, we'll see if they have learned something this week. It is time for Picks and Bans, so let's check in with Pyrotechnics and the Fish Show.
Thanks, Shax. We're still here. Let's take a look at this game and the starting rosters for the Giants. Of course, we have in the top lane, it is Adam, Jungle, Batong, Yucca, and XPeppy in the mid, getting back to form for sure. Audrey and Godfred make up that bottom lane, and Lozark, the coach.
That's correct, Pyre. On the red side, Vitality, of course, with Coppershot, the carry in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Nukeduck in the mid lane, Jan and Kasing down in the bottom lane. And Sean's, a guy getting a lot of praise from his players, from other players as well, and coaches around in the European LCS. And
his team has had a lot of success.
I think he deserves it.
He does, but all these players do as well. I mean, you take a look at this lineup. This was what a lot of people call that European super team. I know we say it a lot. We have said it a lot. One of, but they are looking like one of, like, if not the cleanest team in Europe. Their last week especially showed it.
Fantastic.
They had a 2-0 on the week. Obviously, you could say, oh, well, you won 2 games, whatever. That doesn't make you the cleanest. But they had an epic match against H2K that ended it at the very end with, like, the Dragon 5 fight when neither team was making a mistake. And then they just pretty much completely stomped on the Unicorns.
I mean, it's been over a few weeks, honestly. We've seen Vitality just go up and up and up in the way they're playing. And I think a lot of it comes down to a guy that Youngbuck just mentioned, Nukeduck, in the mid lane. Because I think Nukeduck right now is playing some fantastic League of Legends. And I really like his champion pool. And I like the versatility he does bring. Because he's very hard to pick and ban against. This is one of the bad boys you have to ban against Vitality in the Zillion.
The Zillion Bard comp has been ridiculous.
And for a lot of people, Zillion is not considered a ban-worthy pick. But then when you have a team who's playing so well with the Zillion and then the Bard, obviously, together, suddenly it becomes a ban that has to be respected. And that means often on red side now, you get 2 of these mega power picks because the team's starting to target ban more. And it's not like Vitality can't play other things. He had a fantastic gangplank. We saw that. If that is open, Giants has to first pick it then.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Even if you focus everything on Nukeduck, you've still got that man in the top lane. Cabochard has had an absolutely ridiculous split. He was always known for being a solid carry player, albeit one that needed a lot of resources on Gambit. This time he's been able to thrive, and Shook comes in there and helps him to snowball him, but it's not like he's needed him every time to just start stomping on his lane opponent.
Yeah, it's something we talked with Cabochard about when he was on the analyst desk. And he said that he doesn't feel like he gets that much help from Shook anymore. It's more evenly balanced now on Vitality. And I do agree in some of the games that is correct, but we still see Shook, as you say, like return to that lane if it is the correct lane to gank. And that's the thing about Vitality. They've turned into a team who's no longer playing around individual star players and like every man for himself. They've turned into a team. Because it's about making the correct macro play now. It's about understanding what's our strong lane at the moment, what kind of composition are we running. Cabochard played Lulu last week because they ran a Giacomo comp. And that's what I like to see from a team like Vitality, who has the individual star power. I like to see them turn into a team instead of being just 5 great players.
Well, and they have so much depth in their squad as well.
Team of first pick, of course.
Yeah,
why not?
Naturally. We'll see how to lock that one in. But the Gangplank is not. It is definitely available, not banned out. So that's kind of a no-brainer there. Peppy had a fantastic game on it. But I want to go back to Vitality because this is a team that have pulled out so many rabbits out of their hat. Cabochard played Kennen the last time these two met back in week 3, and it was massively successful. 5-1-4. He ran roughshod over Adam constantly.
Yeah.
And that Gangplank, that could be something that starts to turn the tides for Giants, but they will need some serious time on the clock before they can make use of it.
Let's remember that Nukeduck does play Quinn mid.
That's true.
So if Vitality are saving that as a last pick and they get to see where the Gangplank is going, that definitely is an option for them. They can also just pick it early because it is a flex pick.
It's a triple flex pick.
I'm very happy we mentioned it already and we didn't save it till later on because now it sounds even better when we bring it up. And it is something Vitality can now play in both top and mid lane. And that's a problem for Gangplank because Giants has to show where Gangplank is going unless they pick Alessandra. And then they technically don't show it until they see the pick from Vitality and they can still swap them around. So I actually think that would be a good choice from Giants' side. Otherwise, you know Quinn is going to go into the Gangplank lane.
Yeah, for Giants squad, they've just had a split of a lot of very, very difficult games. And, you know, with the number of opponents they have left, Vitality, one of the strongest ones in the league right now, if not the strongest team.
Probably
this
the
is just such a
strongest,
Herculean task for them, sitting at the bottom of the table to try and separate themselves from teams like Rocket. They have a bit of a breather knowing that Elements lost earlier today, so you know, they don't have to climb quite as high to catch up to those teams, but they need to start winning. Unfortunately, they're against a team like Vitality. This is going to be a monumental task.
This is the kind of game where you don't really think too much about the upset. You think about kind of testing what you've been practicing and seeing like, okay, have we actually improved? Are we able to match them in any way possible? Instead of thinking to yourself, oh, we have to win this game. Like, we have to create the upset right now. Still, very standard for Vitality. We talked about the Quinn. Nidalee is the S-tier jungler. If she's open, you pick her. So what Vitality did with their bans was they made sure to leave the Gangplank open and Nidalee open, so they knew, okay, no matter what Giants' first pick, we will get a super, super highly contested pick for our team. Shook is a fantastic Nidalee player, and we then know that Nukeduck is a great, probably the best Gangplank mid laner in Europe. So they basically just said, no matter what you first pick, we will gain something of equal value plus a second pick.
To us, because they have the capability to pick all these power picks, because they force these bans, because they have these players that can play these wide variety. It's always an advantage, and it's where they've shined in these pick and ban phases. We'll see what Giants answer with. We've seen the top Rammus from Adam before.
It was good when he played it.
It has been one of those pocket picks around the world that has come out surprisingly powerful if he locks it in here. He's not going to, though. Last second switch over to the Malphite. So, and also with that Braum, they have themselves a lot more tank.
I mean, if you're Vitality now, put Quinn mid lane, run Corki AD carry, and then for top lane, you can pick a Lissandra if you want into the Malphite, and you have good lane matchups all across the board here. Thresh Corki is a fine lane 2v2 as well. That is definitely an option for them. They can play Kennen top here for Cabochard like they did last time they played Giants. It's a good matchup into the Malphite. Very little Malphite can do against the Kennen. So there are definitely a lot of options. You can also take Quinn into Malphite top. Early on in the laning phase, Quinn actually does well into Malphite. It's once Malphite hits level 6, it becomes more difficult. And it's very focused on you snowballing that lane as the Quinn. So it's a risky matchup. And I think we're going to see him just put it mid, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yep. So that Nautilus lock-in goes top lane for Cabochard. It'll be a battle of the bruisers up there for a little while. We have seen how that one's shaked out a few times. Peppy, no surprises, of course, will have that Gangplank, as we already knew with the Malphite being locked in.
Yeah.
So for Vitality, a lot of power.
They're baiting it, Pyra.
Yeah.
It's Malphite mid, boys. AP Malphite is back.
There's a lot of power on this Vitality side, a lot of explosive damage early on, and a really good mix. You've got the AP Nidalee, you've got the mixed damage from Corki, and you've got the AD from the Quinn, and a lot of roaming, a lot of fast movements. We know Kasing was also noted for roaming, especially last year on H2K. They're going to come out hard and swinging. I'm worried if Giants are prepared to handle this.
And this Pyra is a Nidalee composition in many ways. Because if you look at what Vitality has, is they have the ability to push the lane early on. Corki Thresh has a double range bot lane. That means you very often control the push. Quinn mid against Gangplank is going to be Quinn pushing in that lane very early and kind of forcing Gangplank to see us on the tower. And top lane, Nautilus is one of the greatest tanks when it comes to early pushing because of the damage from his E on multiple minions. So you have this setup where lanes are going to be pushed very early, which allows the Nidalee to invade very, very easily because she knows the backup is coming because her lanes are winning. And they can like follow in very quickly. So this is a good comp for Nidalee to invade in on Elise.
Well, we'll have to see if Shook is going to shine this game. Hashtag VIT win is your vote if you think that's going to happen. Or will Giants pull themselves another win? They definitely need it. We'll see if it happens. Get ready to step onto the Rift as Giants Gaming face off against Vitality. Top and bottom of the table coming together.
We saw Elements getting very, very close to beating G2 in the last game. A game we didn't expect Elements to do a whole lot in. And honestly, in my opinion, had the game under control until they took a bad fight in the late game. Well, now Giants will have to surprise us, a bit like Elements did.
That last game, really went to show. You can play a nearly perfect game of League of Legends from your perspective, but you have to finish the job. Vitality now, they're sending 4 members, or rather, almost all 5 with Nukeduck coming, bringing up the rear into this jungle here as Giants have sent some members into the opposite side. Try and get that deep vision up, spotting it out. Peppy, Parley's the first.
And in my opinion, Vitality are not looking for a lane swap here with this deep vision. I think they're looking more to try and spot where Giants are going because I think they should aim for standard lanes if you're Vitality for multiple reasons. One, it sets up your Nidalee to use a strong early game, and again, you have pushing lanes. And 2, Gangplank does really well in lane swaps, especially mid lane Gangplank, because he gets early level 6. And then when you have these trades where you're pushing these long side lanes to tier 2 towers.
Well, he's got to survive it first.
He's fine. He can take his
back
potion.
early. Still.
But like when you have these long lanes later on, we can talk about it later on as well. When you start pushing for tier 2 towers, you make these trades where you're pushing up big minion waves, and that's where you can just easily use Gangplank also to mirror it. And let's see, Godfred is
caught. Oh, the flash. They keep following him. This has got to be it. First blood. No, not yet. There we go. Yarnan picks it up. 3 flashes burned for the one of Godfred, but they get the gold in the Corki's pocket.
So again, Vitality was setting up in the enemy jungle to spot, okay, where they're sending their lanes. You see now they're sending their AD carry support top. Well, of course, Jan and Kasing is going to say that's exactly what we wanted. Thank you very much. We're going to go top lane. We take that 2v2 lane. We even have an advantage because we just killed your support. Summoner's blown. We have 3 flashes, obviously, from Vitality. Exactly the same timer, by the way, so it's easy for Giants to time the flash. And Godfred used his. So definitely some summoners gone.
Yeah, it's a team in sync, though. They knew to use their summoners all at the same moment. Now, Audrey's alone for just a moment as Godfred finally comes up after giving up that first blood early on in this game.
But
Should
now
get farm
Vitality's
fest
going
for
to
a
get
while,
level
though.
2 earlier. They have the double range combo.
True, they can get the damage. They've caught Godfred on a hook as well, but it's just harass damage now.
I guess,
Audrey
of
on this
course,
blue chain.
Audrey got his solo experience, but as a team, Vitality's going to get level 2 first, because Godfred got absolutely nothing.
Really curious to see how the junglers affect things this game. Shook and Batong Yaka both on fairly early game damaging junglers. You can also see Batong moving up mid early, but Nuke Duck was safe enough. He had that vault. He uses it right now on Peppy. A little bit more damage just to try to trade with him. Even with the Grasply Undying, Peppy's having a hard early time after that damage he took early.
Shook should not allow Batong Yaka to go in and take his blue. Like, he knows exactly what the path from Batong Yaka is, because Vitality showed themselves in the enemy jungle, taking the blue buff, killing Godfred at the wolf camp. He should honestly, in my opinion, have taken his bump and blue, and then he should just rush straight over mid lane towards that bottom side. Because if Batong Yaka is there, he dies. Capuchat can walk up from his bot lane. Nuke Duck can walk from mid lane. They are both so far ahead of Giants, 2 solo laners, they will just collapse on Batong Yaka and kill him. And suddenly Batong Yaka has nothing he can farm. He would have lost the top side of the map. He wouldn't gain anything on the bottom side other than his own red buff and the 2 camps around him.
All right, but he didn't do it. Shook did not
Shook
go
is
and get
allowing
that
the
up.
Batong Yaka to actually farm evenly with him. I think that's a big mistake, but I want to see what the next move is for Shook.
Take a look at this bottom side. Capuchat has really just been bullying Adam out. But Kasing has gone on a roam
Setting
towards
up
the
a dive.
mid. Peppy, he's got oranges, but will it be K? Shook's here as well. Flashes into the Raptor pit. He's going to have to back away very quickly. Summoner spell burn, but that's free push on the mid turret now.
Still, the main way you play in Italy is not necessarily setting up ganks. It's denying the enemy jungler from doing anything. Don't let her farm. Don't let her gank. Just keep her under control. Yanin is alone on top because we had the roam coming from Kasing.
Yep, has to use that summoner heal. He was in a bit of trouble. Kasing will come on up. We talked about Kasing's roaming. What he's been able to do on this Thresh historically. Yarnin, though, has been much more self-sufficient of late as he starts to push in. We'll take a look at Yarnin on this Corki. And, of course, the Spring Split. Relatively decent scores. Shook gets the hop, but doesn't get the jump on Audrey.
Oh, I like it. They were both predicting the dash coming. First with the spear and then with the hook from Kasing. Yeah, Audrey just didn't react at all, and therefore it completely missed.
Sometimes you mind game yourself just a little too hard. You gotta know who you're dealing with.
A lot of times there, because you are ahead of him, and how far he's moved up in the bush, you can actually just walk into the bush and then try and force the dash first and then force the flash with the hook. But maybe Vitality didn't have full vision of exactly where he was at the time in the bush.
Take a look at the atomization across the board as early in this game is Peppy's picked himself up the Colt, going for a fairly greedy move here as Batong is hanging out to back him up in the event of some danger.
Yeah, he did this last time when he played the Gangplank, so last week. He did exactly the same. On first back, he bought Call.
He's able to get a little bit more gold out of it. I mean, still 6-3. He still gets more gold from his parlay.
Yeah, I don't hate it. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's a bad starting item, but I think it's okay on second or third back if you are playing something that really wants to scale up anyway, because it does give you some gold back at least in return. And at this point, with the first back he had, because he got dove on the tower, he wouldn't have enough gold to buy anything impactful anyway. So just getting the call for more gold, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Because he's still going to struggle in lane no matter what item he had right now. I mean, unless he suddenly picks up a first blood and gets a full item completed. But that's obviously not going to happen. So he's going to struggle no matter what.
Yeah. Well, we talked about a lot about Giants as a team and what they want to do in general, but not about what this composition's trying to do in the pick and ban phase. You know, you've got Peppy. They're going to try to hope for him or bust as Audrey catches the hook. And that has been a much more viable option in the last week. But obviously throughout the rest of this split, they've not been able to pull it off, and that's the worrying trend there, right? So Adam, he's on this Malphite. He can just point and click R. If they can set up a fight and get a good barrel explosion chain, they can definitely dish out a huge amount of AoE. Audrey as well on this Lucian. They're hoping to catch Vitality together, but look at how mobile this team is. It's going to be hard to do. Tanyaka, he's caught in the wrong neighborhood here. Nowhere to hop to. Kasing is there. Nuke Duck's there. There's the flash. The spear doesn't connect, but the flash for Kasing, and they also get out of the cannon barrage. Another pickup for Vitality.
And this is a thing we talked about in Champ Select. This comp from Vitality has pushing lanes in every lane. especially mid lane where Nukdog is just gonna counterpick the gangplank and keep pushing over and over. So you technically should never invade into the enemy jungle, because then you know Nukdog is gonna move first. Peppy cannot react other than his ulti. That's it.
Yep.
So Betongyaka moving in is just super, super risky and a very greedy move. I don't even think Sugar's been playing this in Italy up to the standard we have seen from, like, okay, as an example, like Peanut from the Rocks Tigers, the way he's playing with it. Top lane dive though.
There is the heal and the dash away, and the spear goes flying. Godfred and Audrey are trying to get away. Flashes from the hook. Shook sends one more spear flying, but now they have free push on the top tower. Talked about it. Pushing lanes, and they can affect those dives. Peppy, Nukdog taking too many tower shots here as he pops the heightened senses. Flashes away from the cocoon of Betongyaka. Overstays his welcome a bit. Peppy, speaking of overstay, he is way too low here, but there's no trouble for him as he's got some backup from his jungler. Tower should fall. One more hit on the Nautilus should do it, and that is first tower over to Vitality. Bottom one very healthy here. There hasn't been a whole lot of push pressure.
Again, we knew what was going to happen mid lane, so it's no surprise. Peppy also getting ganked. The first time made him lose even more minions because the wave was pushing into tower, which made the timing very good for Vitality to gank there. So, Nukdog winning his mid lane. It's what we've seen the last few weeks. Still, as I mentioned, want to see even more shutdown of Betongyaka. He's been able to farm evenly with Nidalee, despite the Elise having losing lanes. So again, that's where we gotta look at it. Again, Vitality didn't have the full vision on the map, so they probably didn't even know if Betongyaka actually started. If he just did like his own red buff and rushed straight to blue buff early on in the game, and that's why Shook didn't go over there. It's something that's always difficult for team in-game when they don't have the full vision, and we do. But still, I mean, Vitality are winning the early game. Talked about the strong lanes. Capture did sacrifice farm, but he got a tower for his team by TPing up there, because they were pressuring it in over and over. We can see Giants, though, return the favor, because now they have TP advantage. They have double TP even on the side of Giants.
Yeah, the other one's about to come off cooldown, too, for
exactly.
for
so as soon as this tower here goes down, I want to see Giants try and set up to make actual TP play. Like, try and get in the lane with Kasing and Yanan and use the Malphite TP to do a 3v2 and just collapse them. Because you have gambling ulti as well, so like it's very, very strong what you do have. This is the play.
Actually stuck behind with that ultimate.
This is the play we talked about earlier, what Gangplank can do. When you build up these waves and you want to try and trade towers, so like you go 4-man top to push and the other team is going 3-4-man bottom to push, the Gangplank ulti stops that because you can kill the wave. Problem is, obviously, it's a little bit early here, and it was just one wave coming in for Vitality. It wasn't a big wave being pushed up, so it wasn't a massive trade.
Yeah.
And therefore, Gangplank ulti doesn't do anything else than delay the play from Vitality.
Not to mention, he was being double-teamed in the mid lane, so he didn't really have any extra defense to try and push off that attack.
That was the situation, though, where Giants could have pushed in for a second tier 2 top. Because they were pretty far ahead in the play. They had taken on tower.
Oh!
Adam getting interrupted.
His back is stopped. They don't want to fully chase into him here. They're still Peppy to contend with.
But there was a big wave coming top for Giants. They didn't even bounce the wave when it took tower. And GP ult had been used bot to delay Vitality. There was no teleport for Copper Shot. That's where, in my opinion, you push in for 2 towers. Like, because you're that far ahead in the play. You are like 10 seconds almost ahead in pushing in. You just go for second tower. Because you have double TP even to go down and defend the tier 1 or tier 2 tower on the bottom side. I think Giants missed an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, with double TP not being used to its full potential, we talked about this in the last game. And also we talked about teams on the lower end of the league bracket right now just not making optimal decisions. Giants have started to change that trend a little bit. We did see them against Elements last week playing a little bit better in making proactive calls, going for Barons, going for tower dives. But against a team like Vitality, who just makes so few mistakes, it is incredibly difficult to do this.
Yeah. Obviously, also for Vitality, you're going to have to trade split pushing. Adam going in.
Oh, yes, he is. And there's a spider right behind him. Nukdog biting off more than he could chew. Betongyaka gets a kill for himself. Godfred's caught in a line, but he stands behind Peppy.
Audrey coming in as well, so Giants is constantly trying to collapse onto Vitality and punish them when they're pushing up lanes.
If they can't, Audrey gets a double hit onto Shook, forcing the Cougar to back away here.
And that was the same thing about the play before, where Giants didn't go for 2 towers. They valued moving down from the lane, from the tier 1 tower that died, to mid to stop Vitality from pushing. The thing is, again, they had TP for Adam. I think just him teleporting down would have stopped the push and then continued to push up top meanwhile. But again, it's heat of the moment decisions to be made. Mid tower is still very low for Giants. It's just a few hits for Vitality. So they will eventually get this one down. And Giants doesn't have a play now. They don't have a response. because again they didn't take that opportunity. So it's always very tricky and very hard when it's heat of the moment decisions you gotta make. And they value defending this tower over being aggressive themselves and pushing in.
Yeah, just trying to buy some time on it.
It's still gonna go down so soon. Like we're talking like one.
It's gotta be now.
Move from Vitality. That's the tower. So like, it was gonna happen anyway. It just happened 1.5 minutes later. And now Giants are getting nothing on the map because bot side they just took a wave for Adri, and top side Nukdog is pushing. So you eventually just gave Vitality the tower, and didn't really gain anything other than a little bit of time.
Slow and steady for Vitality is always the name of the game. We've hit 13 minutes, just about on the clock here, and Vitality, you know, they've gotten themselves fairly close to a 3,000 gold advantage. They're going to be going for this Rift Herald right now. Still nothing doing for Giants on the rest of the map. They're trying to clear out wards, or rather they're trying to clear out waves, but they're not even clearing out wards. You can see, that's like twice Audrey has walked by the proximity of that pink ward and not checked in the brush. Small mistakes, not being able to get anything done here.
Something we see very often with that one ward down to in front of the red buff. It is so often when you click running from bot lane to mid lane, you just click on your minimap to mid lane, and the most optimal path does not go into that bush. So your character won't see it unless you are specifically saying, oh, I need to run there. He's doing exactly the same thing again. He's just clicking on mid lane.
All eyes on him.
Character just runs straight to mid lane and therefore doesn't check the bush.
Speaking of checking the brush, Sink takes a full cocoon to the face before a little bit of damage, forcing it to flash away. Godfred, Audrey, and Adam here on this mid lane, but they're not able to push it in against the three members of Vitality here to defend. 3 towers to 1. Giants still hanging around in this mid, but ain't able to push it all back. And there's still Cabochard to contend with on the bottom. He continues to slowly lumber towards the second tier turret. Adam should be able to 1v1 him for much longer, even on the items, but not much.
And we still haven't seen this double teleport and Gangplank ulti together. Like, that's a massive global comp you have in that way. Really punish Vitality for pushing lanes over and over. And again, it's what we talked about in Champs. So like, there are 3 lanes that's going to be pushed in by Vitality. They're going to slowly but surely chip away in the towers until they say, okay, now we can just like move Cabochard to the lane with the AD carry and support, and we just push in tower, together with Shook as well, of course. While Nuka just pushes in mid over and over, and then we slowly take down your towers. So now it's 3 towers to 1. Long lanes that are both side lanes now, if you look at your minimap, are pushed down by Vitality. So this makes it almost impossible for Giants to make a play, because it's impossible for Giants to do the first step, which is secure vision. So you have a ward you can teleport to flank as the Malphite. They have 1 ward in river near mid lane, and that's it. There's no wards further in because every lane is pushed so far back. So Adam has only 1 place he can teleport to, and that's that 1 ward. And if he doesn't pull on that one, well, he's not going to TP anywhere. And because Vitality always have time to push in the lanes first, and Giants are always reacting, the TP play is never going to happen. And it's just Vitality deciding, okay, we pushed in mid, let's go bot lane. Wave is coming, okay, let's push in bot lane. Okay, now we can just go back because we don't want to push anymore.
These are the kind of things that are just so characteristic of Vitality. You have to see this coming. We talked about it. We heard from Pepe on how important coaches are and how it's pretty much solo queue without them. This is the kind of thing, as a coach, you have to know. You have to be prepared for when you see a comp like this being built out.
Right, because when it comes to in-game, let's see what happens with first. Godfred.
Yeah, he's unbreakable. Still taking damage, however. Spear's not going to connect, and Cabochard looking
for Adam.
Oh, there's a teleport coming in. Adam looks for damage, and Nukdog is low. It's Shook who's taken out. Cannon barrage right in the middle. Batong Yaka flashing away. They look for Audrey, not enough damage. Adam taking a blinding assault to the face. But it is Giants who come up with 1 kill there. Now Pepe's got to be careful not to give up the ghost. Yarnan, a lot of damage, looking to see if they can catch. Yarnan turns him away.
Mid lane here, no minions for Vitality. I really like that play from Adam. Vitality walked into the river blind, had no vision early on to see where it was. Pepe getting interrupted.
Cancels the back.
He's not going to get anything else. He might go for Adri though.
See if he can do it.
It's only Cabochard.
Yeah, it is only Cabochard trying, and now Godfred is making haste towards this top. Stands behind a minion. Now Cabo's in some trouble. Adam coming up. Flash burned. Audrey also follows suit. He's stunned up by the Winter's Bite, and in comes Nukdog to try and save the day. Yarnan around the side. Extension on both sides. Godfred and Adam with Audrey running out of the top lane, and no one goes down in the follow-up.
But yeah, Vitality see the Giants are finally pushing up the wave, and they're like, okay, we can engage on them now, we can flank them. But looking at the river where Giants are fighting, there's no vision for Vitality at all. So they don't see where Adam is hiding right now. And they're just kind of tunnel missioning on trying to chase the backline. Great ulti from Adam. Secures the first kill. Nukedog has to flash away. He's out of the fight now. So I really like that setup from Giants. Sadly for them, they only get one kill. Like this is one of the fights where you feel like you have a chance to get back in the game.
They almost lost a man too.
And then you only get one kill from it. Because Vitality had all the flashes ready and everything. And we're just kind of back to the same now, where every lane is going to be pushed in one more time.
But for Vitality, that was a bit of a mistake on their end. You can see there's still a teleport available on Giant's side. It's Adam who's got it.
Has to be able to use it.
Waiting in that rush with the Dragon King started. This is number one, of course, for either team. Vitality will get some extra bonus stats with them available. Giants not able to get anything else for it, as Kabashard's still threatening on this bottom side. They've sent Adam to the top. But if they can force Vitality to try and chase and tunnel on them like you just saw, maybe they can get a wombo combo.
But it's also about using the time when you know the other team is taking something. Oh, let's see, Nukedog.
Yeah, there was a catch. Nukedog a little bit low, but he's still getting out. Now Peppy Scott has to flash away. Teleport flame coming in. Adam gets the knockup, this time unstoppable force. And he looks to chase down Kasing now. Godfred hopping to him. Play backwards. Kabashard's there. A few members of Giants have peeled off. Seems like a bit of a miscommunication, but Audrey comes right back on in. Death charge lands onto Batong Yaka. Knocks him up for just a second, but no other damage dealt. Kasing gets the hook on Batong, plays him in. Kabashard takes him out. Big anchor. And it's a 1-for-1 trade. Vitality still keeping this lead.
And once again, it's a good ulti from Adam when he comes in, but Giants are not able to get more than just a single kill. We're just about to talk about how when you see the other team take an objective you know you cannot fight for, you gotta gain something else on the map. And most of the time, that's warding. So you start setting up some wards where you know, okay, we're now setting up for Adam to flank. You know, we're gonna give him that TP opportunity to land that big ulti, and then we're gonna win the fight. Giants were once again sitting very far back when Vitality would take the Dragon. And it was only because Vitality moved so far in that this ward here at the Raptor camp was an option for Adam. So it's a good catch onto Nukedog. Another teleport, like this should be a good fight now. Also used a little bit too early from Peppy. And then Archery's not here yet. He's still running. He's out of your screen right now. So a lot of the consistent damage is not there. Once Archery joins, he gets the ult from Kabashard. So Archery is still like 0 damage at this point. And here he can finally do something. But that's a reason Giants can't get more.
Yeah. I actually miscalled that one. I thought I went on to Batong Yaka, but a really, really good presence of mind of Cabo, seeing Audrey come in to just interrupt him, get enough consistent damage, and then they can immediately turn that to their advantage to 1-for-1-ing. So hasty trigger fingers. I mean, they're not quite up to their power spikes yet. You want to see Gangplank getting more than just the Trinity Force. Yes, that's an important power spike, but if you can't combo as well, the Lucian only on the Essence Reaver. He also, interestingly enough, goes for the Swifty boots. Makes a lot of sense, I suppose. You don't really need extra cooldown.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And the attack speed is really already there for him, so he's a little bit low, has to be careful. Godfrey's going to block for him. Body block, still taking a little bit more damage.
He will most likely get an Essence Reaver later in the game, which is going to give him the CDR he needs. So I think this is perfectly fine for him. Always your choice is, do you want the second item? Do you want Infinity Edge as your second item for more wall damage? For Peppy, in this case here, because he has the call stacking up, I think he needs the Infinity Edge just to have more damage, because it's him and Adri, and Adri is never going to be able to really carry a fight against a Nautilus, because he's going to get the ult from Nautilus, he's going to get zoned by Nautilus, and he's very low range AD carry. So it's so difficult for the Lucian to actually deal late game damage against a big tank like Nautilus. So a lot of it is coming from Peppy. A lot of it is coming from Peppy.
They start to find those wards to clear him out. Adam's been instrumental in a couple of engages the Giants have had, but both of those have ended up even. Still falling behind in the gold game. Now about 4,000 down as Cabo continues to pressure this bottom wave, drawing Peppy, drawing Adam, drawing people constantly. As he just chips away at that turret. Now a lot of pings flying from Vitality saying, hey, we need to start getting the vision on the Baron side. This is starting to become a real possibility. And
even though Giants had some even fights, the last two fights we saw, even one of them technically Giants won that fight. Because they only got the one kill in each of the fights, they used the ultis and the robots on them, which meant that because Vitality didn't really lose much, nothing changed in terms of the game and the way the game's being played out. Giants are still pushed back in every lane. Quinn is just gonna roam around constantly and be super annoying, and nobody can really deal with her. And like, Malphite technically can kill her if she gets onto her, but Nukedog is never gonna engage in that fight right now. Yeah. He's just gonna push the wave and then he's gonna leave, because whenever he leaves, the no TP Malphite can't follow it. And technically he can run down the river, which has been pink warded completely by Vitality, because they know when you have Quinn, you don't run teleport on Quinn mid, So what you do instead is you push your wave. Once you push past the river, you pop your ulti, and then you run down the river. So when it's completely pinked by Vitality, Giants are unable to see where Nukeduck is on the map. They don't know how fast he's joining fights. They don't know where he's going. And it allows Nukeduck to play very, very aggressive on this Quinn. So I really like this map setup from Vitality. Also gives them the Baron control they want as well.
Nukeduck, player you definitely praise. At the start of the day, he's definitely been stepping up big, and those options, playing that mid Quinn, something not a lot of teams are comfortable with doing. Give them even more ability to push around the map. And look, he's not contested right now. He goes behind enemy lines. Batong is jumping up, but he is not going to last long. What goes up must come down. Combo TP, looks for Godfred, hooks on, and all of a sudden the power switch is gone. Nukeduck around the side, taking tower shots, but he just doesn't care at this point. And now Audrey a little bit low. There's the cannon barrage. Will force the back away. Adam goes in with the unstoppable force. Only lands on Shook before retreating into his base. Good connection on the barrels of xPeppy, but still it is not enough damage. But Tongyaka and Godfred are still down for a good 18 seconds. Cabochard could fall here, but Adam has got to be careful not to overstay his welcome. Middle turret is going down, however. It will be another one for Vitality. That is number 4. They just have the power to keep pushing further on Giants.
And very interesting turn of events where Tongyaka randomly gets caught out in the mid lane. And then obviously Vitality TPs in and picks the fight.
They're doing more with 1 TP than Giants are doing with 2.
Yes. I mean,
that's not a good precedent.
It's a very big difference in shot calling between these two teams. And Vitality is constantly stepping back. Okay, so Tongyaka is staying when the rest of his team is backing away to clear out the pink. Ksingyak had already charged up the hook before the team came in, clearly.
And then they hesitated, and this allowed Cabochard to come in and get the long range hook on Godfrey.
Yeah,
just a series of ticks. Nukeduck almost got 3. Or a third, rather.
It was pretty weird with Ksing being able to send the hook out and catch the Tongyaka.
And they burned important cooldowns. I mean, it is coming down to shot calling. This is also a huge difference in where these teams are in the standings. Vitality pick up Dragon number 2 now. Just shy of 25 minutes. They've got themselves a little bit of extra tower burn to try and get these sieges going. And now Nukeduck's in the bottom side trying to draw attention. No teleport available for Cabo since he'd already used it on that last one. Giants have 2. It all comes down to how they use them. Keeping this Baron area completely dark. Just engaging and see if they can't get a pick. Look lands on Peppy, and Lantern. All the way out, Ksing gets Tongyaka again. They don't want to go in on that one because Godfrey's there. Sends the Braum ulti out, catches 2. Barrels are set and ready, but they've already backed away except for Cabochard, who just keeps taking the line, and Nukeduck comes around the side. Polishes off Godfrey, looks for Peppy. That's the double. The shield keeping him alive, and the rest of Giants are melting in the back. That's a triple kill for Nukeduck. Adam sends the ulti sky high, but it doesn't matter with no backup. That's the ace. 25 minutes, that's going to be Baron.
I mean, Vitality has had that Baron control for the last 5-6 minutes with the pink wards we talked about. When you have that Quinn who can roam between the lanes, pink wards in river is so key, and just bait a fight, honestly. Giants walk straight into it, get caught out, they end up dying very late. Coordination is not there for them, and Vitality are just in full control of this game. Honestly, feel like they have been almost since the pick and ban phase in what exactly they wanted to do. Can then argue if you wanted to see more in the early game. But Giants had those 2 fights where we looked at it and we said, like, that had to be more for them to get back in the game, because now you have that problem where we get in towards the Baron. Everything is picked up by Vitality, so there's no vision. Nukeduck is fast enough to roam up. I mean, there's very little you can do at this point if you are Giants. Adam here needs to blow his ulti way earlier, of course, and not chase after Cabochard with the rest of the team, because Cabochard is not relevant in this case. But the game is not lost due to this fight. The game is lost, 5-6 minutes before this, maybe even more. Because this fight is just what happens when you fall that far behind. You get forced into these kind of bad fights.
They just can't execute, falling further and further behind that gold swing now. Up to 10,000, 2,000 of that is courtesy of that Baron power play you see in the top right of your map. Giants trying to defend the line, but the Baron empowerment's even more difficult. And they sent Cabochard back to his old stall on the bottom. And no one is answering from Giants here. Still double TPs. They just haven't used them at all, and they haven't been able to. Peppy trying to clear waves, but he takes way more than he gives. So much damage on this Vitality side. 27 minutes. The pressure is high. A tower falls.
Someone has to be bot lane here.
No one's reacting. Nukeduck's in the mid. Adam's trying to force the issue, but he doesn't get a single knockup now. Trying to take out Yarnin, and he gets yanked in with the Lantern. Nukeduck coming around the side. Cannon barrage. Yarnin might fall here, but he's still got enough shield. Finally shut down, and Vitality are just trying to move away as slowly as they can. A double kill going over to Audrey just before Vitality can react to it. But there's still no one to defend this front door. Nukeduck's knocking on it.
Shot wanted to recall and then join in with home guards. So he came in very late with the teleport. Mid lane is open though, as you mentioned, Pyra, and that's going to be a tower for Vitality.
Well, if there's one thing I know, Deficio, when it's an open mid, a team like Vitality can definitely push forward to try and end it. That is their 6th tower of the game to the one that Giants have secured, the only one up in that top lane. Nukeduck roving around the bottom side, might be spotted out, but he's powerful enough to not really give a damn anymore. Procs himself to Yomu's Ghostblade for a little bit more speed and maneuverability, and the Empowered Baron recall means they can get back to base that much quicker to get right back onto the map. 28 minutes, and it is a massive, massive advantage for Vitality.
And right now for them as a team, you have every opening, like almost every call you make as a team now is the correct call.
So much room for error just because of how far you set yourself ahead.
Exactly.
But they haven't made that many mistakes.
You have an Ohm Wrecker now.
Yeah.
On your Nautilus.
Yeah, and a Death Dance on your... I mean, you usually know when Ohm Wrecker is built, that's about the time that tower dives aren't just an option, but they're your default.
Sure, I mean, again, when you are this far ahead, technically you can just set up these tower dives. You just always got to respect what can happen to your backline, but...
That's why you get the Ohm Wrecker.
Ohm Wrecker, sure. Disable that tower if needed. I think maybe he was planning on a ZZ Rod at first. We're like, you know what, guys?
I don't want the game to last that long.
We are in a situation where we're just going to dive anyway, so let's pick it up.
This is starting to resemble what they were doing against Unicorns. That game was, about 30 minutes. This game, if trends continue, might end pretty soon as well. A lot of damage. Yarden, however, gets stunned up. A misstep from him. Stunned by the Winter's Bite and the follow-up, but still, so many members of Giants commit to that mid. All of a sudden, Nukeduck says, that's fine, I'm just going to peck away at your tower. Unstoppable Force Burn, Cannon Barrage. Nukeduck might go down here, and he will, but not before getting a whole lot of damage out. So 2 members lost. Death timers are actually relatively high. Giants have a small window to react to this.
Vitality getting very sloppy right now. Not only in the way they were building, obviously, we talk about the Ohm Wrecker and so on. Technically, it is a good item if you're snowballing.
Hey man, he hasn't died.
And again, if you want to dive, it is technically a good item, but... Yarnin there, he had flash ready. He could have just flashed out as soon as he saw the Braum connect, and he was like, okay, there's a chance we're going to get stunned here, and just play it super safe. Nukeduck as well. End up getting hit by Malphite ulti into Gangplank ulti, and that's a mid tower for Giants. Still 10,000 gold behind. But Vitality just fooling around a little bit.
Yeah, some much needed gold for Giants, but they will need to climb a lot higher than that to get themselves back in this game. We have hit 30 minutes. They are still 10,000, as you said, gold behind. 2 dragons to 0, 7 towers to only 2 now, as that was the only thing they could take off the Death Timers. Nukeduck just coming off cooldown. Massive wave in the top side. Vitality are more interested in this dragon. It's about to come off. Number 3 means speed boost, and they should be able to pick it up, no contest. Wards just all over this jungle as well. Giants, they haven't had time to clear anyone out, so they just get every movement on the map spotted.
And we're in that point where Giants now have been getting a few kills here. They got a tower. We start looking at items completed for them. 2 items completed is the max for any member on that team, where obviously Vitality are pretty far ahead in that case, already completed 3rd on towards the 4th item. We look at that situation where Giants should have just tried to put up a few wards in their own jungle, have your home guard Malphite use that to TP on, and just take a big wombo combo team fight. Like, that's your only way to win. So that just needs to be the setup. There is one, no, that's a blue ward, so that doesn't work. There is no wards from Giants in their own jungle, except for this one we just saw on your screen with the Tongyaka.
Yeah, they need to be diving under the base for that to even be relevant. Adam has had a couple of big plays with that ultimate of Malphite, but it has not been nearly enough. Nukeduck right behind Yarnin, looking to try and march down to stay with the rest of Vitality.
I mean, right here, you got the TP now.
There's a TP, flank around the back, immediately Vitality move away, but they might be caught here. Kasing, he's the one who gets bowled over by Adam, but Kabashar taking the line in front as Nukeduck answers back onto the big rock man. And now Heavy still trying to let the barrels fly, but Godfrey's the one who's caught. Yarnin picks up the kill, and he keeps on pushing. All said and done, it's a 1-for-2. Vitality caught out. Best situation Giants could have hoped for, and they lose more than they give.
Again, too much focus on the wrong member. Like, you don't need to destroy Kasing here. at all. You're aiming for Yarnin or Nuke Dog. Like, you want to take on one squishy, one of the damage dealers.
He's coming right back in. He's already backed after all. That one throws the hook, and it's not going to land on Audrey, but still, they get themselves an inhib now. 32 minutes in, they've still got a wave down bot. They've still got a wave pushing in the top.
And that was the play for Giants to get back in the game. Really, TP used from Adam. They placed that ward in the lane and were waiting for Vitality to push up, so it was what we talked about, but the team fight coordination just hasn't been there. Like, let's see it again. I like the ward, I like the setup. This is what you need to get back in the game. It's engaged on the baton unit. This is fine for Giants. Where's the focus here? Nuke Dog and Yarnin are spread, so they're hitting Kissing right now. I think even Adam ends up hitting just him and Capo Shot. Yarnin was like right next to him, and they smacked into Kissing and Capo Shot instead of one of the damage dealers, and that obviously then ruins the whole purpose of this Malphite ulti if it's just used to finish off the support.
Spending those cooldowns, big spells, not efficiently as Audrey takes a huge chunk of damage from Yarnin. Powerful though he is right now. Rapid Fire Cannon, Trinity Force, and of course the good old Infinity Edge, and he's still building towards more. Mercurial Scimitar coming up next. Now, Baron, they can just start pressuring it here. Yes, there are blue trinkets on Giants, yes, they can spot it, but they're powerful enough, they're far enough ahead, they might be able to just peel off and take these fights consistently, but they're still just trying to get a catch onto Peppy, and they do, play him back! Oranges aren't even gonna be nearly enough, and he burns the flash before going down. Adam gets a knockup, but there's still no follow-up. He just tried to use it as an escape path, they play him back in. Cabochard taking most of that culling as Yarnin picks up another kill, and forget about the Baron, they're marching on the base.
They can get everything now. Pyra here, 2 members dead from Giants. Baton Yaga.
Oh, he's got to go down now, trying to flash his way away. And he may not be safe after this one. Gets Nuke Duck caught up in a cocoon, but it won't be much longer before he turns into a big, beautiful butterfly and ends this one. Tower's starting to fall. That's the first of the next turn. No, it's something else entirely. But Batong Yak, talk about something else, he's dead. Audrey and Godfred, only ones left standing to try and hold the line, but it will not be enough. He's caught on another hook, courtesy of Kasing. Audrey nearly eats it back inside of his own fountain. The Nexus is gonna fall. Vitality show why they are so powerful as they take down Giants Gaming.
Expected in many ways.
Results.
For Vitality, we talked about how that game is tough to win for Giants.
There were options. As Shans goes out to congratulate his team. For Peppy, that man in the middle, he had such a masterful performance last week. Especially comparatively, we thought we'd seen the old Pepinero back again, but it wasn't enough.
It's so tough to pick and ban against Vitality at the moment because they play all these special picks that are used often as just counter picks in specific matchups, but are then not otherwise regarded as one of the staple top tier picks. Like a Fiora you're gonna see contested in every game, either banned or picked. But a Quinn is specific teams who like to use her, which means that sometimes you have to ban her obviously against them, but other times like they just have it as a counter pick. And you saw the Gangplank, like Vitality had completely planned this one. They're like, we're gonna leave Gangplank in Italy open. You have to pick the Gangplank because otherwise Nuke will take it and destroy you. So once you pick it, we're just gonna go Quinn. And like we have the counter ready, it was Quinn mid for Nuke Dog, and it gives just so much flexibility in the pick a man phase.
And there's just not a lot of options for a team like Giants to try and face off. They had a few openings to play the fights they needed. Unfortunately, by the time they really started getting more of them, there just wasn't a lot left to do. I mean, they really needed the wombo combos, but Vitality are just too smart for that. They had so much mobility. Well, they had so many power picks.
I feel like Giants had opportunities where Vitality were overextending. Most likely also because, again, they were saying, hey, this is not the kind of match where you, as Vitality, are like maybe like 100% try hard. But whenever those fights happened, we just saw the lack of coordination, I feel like, for Giants in team fights, where it would either be a good ulti from Adam, but then no follow-up, or it would be the wrong ulti from Adam, and then they would lose the fight. And like when you invest everything and get a 4-man Malphite ulti or 3-man Malphite ulti, and you get like 1 kill only, it's tough then to win the game, because you're supposed to win these team fights. That's what your comp is doing.
Yep. But they were just able to overpower them, Vitality was. Now we're going to send it side stage. Repulse is standing by with Vitality's hook flying support.
Thank you very much, Pyra. I'm here with Kasing after that victory. And first off, Kasing, got to talk about the draft, because it seemed like you guys just kind of won every single lane before you even got into the game.
Well, basically after like the first big GP, we kind of had like a set out plan, and we knew that well, expected them to pick GP, and then we had like one of the strongest junglers being Nidalee and Quinn, which you can flex pretty much a bit at the top now. And yeah, I think we had like a pretty easy draft after that.
Yeah, it was an easy draft, but when you got into game, while you had the advantage for most of it, you guys dropped a lot of kills, the ending was fairly slow. What happens in terms of communication in that game?
To be honest, it's like we make a plan, or I say a plan, and everyone kind of gives me a response, and after that, but it's more about if we disrespect the opponents, and then after you can see like Martha getting a free pick or just people dying in random places, it's kind of bad. But I think this is more to do with like just being consistent in general, and hopefully we don't have this kind of game again.
Would you be able to expand upon that communication? Because you said everyone kind of gives their opinion and gives information, and then you make the call, or how does that work within the team?
Well, it's, for example, if I say like mid-top, then it's usually just like we have a good plan, or people know where to be on the map. But if you miss position and just go somewhere that you're not meant to be, and you die, then the plan kind of gets ruined, so yeah.
Okay, well, moving away from the game here, Kasing, talking about coaches, of course, you used to have Prolly, now you have Sean's. How was that dynamic working, and how have the coaches like changed you as a player?
I think coaches are like super important in terms of helping you with the macro aspect, but Sean does this job like perfectly, so I'm really glad to have Sean as a coach.
Oh, that's very cool to hear. Thank you very much for the interview and congratulations on the win, Kasing. We're going to send over to a quick break before we get back for the match of the week. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back after this.